For this video, it's gonna be about a video game movie. So they made a movie and then they eventually made like a game based off of it. Like what I was talking about yesterday, like with the Xmen Origins Wolverine game, right? So these games were more popular. They were more common back in the day. So 04, 05, 2004, 05, 06, 07, 08. They were more popular in the PS2, 360, PS3 eras, like of games, right? You rarely see them now. You rarely see them. The last one I remember that came out was 2014's Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? That one, got a game. But yeah. So, a video game based on a movie. So, first off, though, I am grateful for these because if it wasn't for some movies, I wouldn't have experienced some of these games, right? And yeah. So, first off here, they sometimes expand on the actual movie itself, right? So they show you more of that world, more characters, there's more dialogue, there's more consistency, there's more enemies. You get to see more of that world. The King Kong game is a huge example. It's probably the best movie game. King Kong game, right? So you see more of that Skull Island experience. It's kind of weird because of the movie itself had more characters. The movie had more characters, but the game itself showed you more of that world. It showed you more of that world, and it literally made you play as King Kong. So King Kong is like its own game, right? This brutal, unstoppable force of nature, right? But yeah, I was giving you Skull Island, right? The prehistoric hunter-gatherer type gameplay, right? Fire was very important, right? And yeah, it's giving you more story. It is longer than the movie, and yeah. Origins Wolverine, for example. Amazing Spider-Man 1, for example. So yeah, these are all examples of various, movie games, right? That are expanded on the actual movie itself. The very first movie game I played was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game and Shark Tale. The Shark Tale game. But at the time, I was probably 7 years old. It was 04, 05, 2004, 05. Then I remember playing it, and then I was so impressed. But I didn't know at the time it was based off the actual movie, right? Until a little after, right? So yeah, it goes into the movie games. Sometimes they're not exactly like the movie, even though they take a lot of inspiration from it. Sometimes they do things in different structures. Like in the story, you might start off a different way. It might be like a prequel to the movie, so it could show you more of what happened before the movie, right? But for the most part, though, that they go off of mostly it's based on the movie. It's basing on the movie, and yeah, it's very interesting though because if you liked a certain movie or if you found a movie underwhelming, it wasn't very good, right? And the game kind of does a good job of expanding on the movie, right? Like I said before, it does a very good job of that. Now, some of them can be underwhelming. This really depends on the developers, whoever was the ones developing said game. It depends on the game itself, right, and the devs. Some games, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, that's a huge tongue twister for me. Oh, but I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan, huge. But Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer was underwhelming. It was underwhelming because the gameplay wasn't very good. Just the segments, the level design, all those things, right? Even though it had cool abilities, I like the abilities, definitely. But yeah, the gameplay itself wasn't very good. Iron Man 1, same, thing. The Incredible Hulk was kind of underwhelming at times, right? But yeah, so sometimes, they can be good, they can be bad. But yeah, sometimes they remind you of a certain genre, like SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie was, is a genre that reminds me of Ratchet and Clank, mixed in with a Jack and Dexter. Has that platforming, attack, third-person action, a genre. The Origins Wolverine game reminds me a lot of the God of War games. It reminds me a lot of the God of War games. The earlier God of War games. I'm not talking about the Norse ones, the earlier ones. The God of War 3, the Ghost of Sparta, the God of War 1, God of War 2. And yeah, so sometimes they can be, they kind of remind you of certain genres. I'm not sure if you call it a sub-genre, But like the movie games, they sometimes take inspirations like from other games, from from more popular games out there, and yeah, some of them like I didn't know existed. The Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. I didn't know this was a game. Another one, for example, was the Golden Compass, right? So a mini, which I got early, but I didn't actually know this was like an actual movie game, right? So some of them though, I guess weren't really marketed well, right? Because you had so many other games, right? And yeah, it was more popular. It was very popular during the PS2 era. So, but it's kind of weird because some games would come out and then they would come out for later console generations. For example, a big example here was the Iron Man 1. So, Iron Man 1 was for 360, right? But originally it was for the PS2. And the versions of the game, so from cross-platform, the versions would differ. Origins Wolverine, another example was the Incredible Hulk, right? So it would slightly differ in some of the gameplay. Obviously, the PS3, the 360 had better graphics than the PS2. So it would differ, like, in that aspect. I remember growing up and I was like, okay, I gotta get like a 360 or like a PS3, right? It was, I didn't get like a PS3 until 2011, right? So some of these games I didn't get to experience until then, right? And yeah, some of them, because they are rare now, they are rare titles now, and you don't see movie games around anymore. You don't see released anymore, like almost never, like never nowadays, right? But again, because of their rarity of the ones that came out back then, right? They're gonna go up like in price. So they're gonna be very expensive. I saw King Kong movie game. The King Kong game is like what? For a 360 is a crazy price, like $60, $50 for like a game that's 20 years old, 19. I say, oh my god. But yeah, it depends on the rarity like of the game. Avatar, for example, is the same type of thing, right? Some of them like are more cheaper because I guess they were more common. Shrek the Third, for example, or Transformers the game. A Rise of the Silver Surfer, right? Even though it is kind of rare, but it's cheaper. Relatively cheaper actually the other ones. So yeah, movie games now, with these games and the developing time like for the games, I'm not sure how much time the developers had because they had to make the game in a preparation like for the movie. So they had to, I would imagine they would have to release the game like around the movie release date for marketing and so the game can sell more, right? But yeah, but I'm not sure the dev time like for some of these games. Some of them are very impressive. Again, the King Kong, the for example, Shrek the Third or a SpongeBob SquarePants game, Origins Wolverine. They were very impressive. So I would imagine some of them, was there was lots of work done on them, right? And yeah, going back to what I said about earlier about the how they differ, right? Like from the movie, some of them can differ like from the movie, right? But it gives you, some of them give you like an alternate perspective like on that movie. So if you wanted, certain things change, like in the Shrek the Third game, right? Certain things changed, and it's a lot of them are very adventure, so it's action adventure. So as you're going throughout the adventure, as you encounter like a certain character like from the movie, you see more of other characters' world, or other characters' minions, or other characters' companions, right? So which you wouldn't have seen so much of like in the movie. So again, it is expanded. It goes back to that thing I said. It expanded like a lot, right? But yeah, Avatar the game is one example where it kind of differs from the movie. King Kong, it has like an altered structure. The structure is different like from the movie, and you are more isolated. It is more isolating than the movie, right? But for the most part, though, the story across these games, they maintain the same. The end result in the story is basically the same as the movie. So if you like the ending like of the movie, you're gonna like the end like the game, or vice versa, right? Lots of these were one-off, so they would only be one in that franchise. It depends. So however movies were made for them, however many movies were made would carry over like into the a game. So for example, Origins Wolverine, even though the post credit scene had it kind of set up more of this a post apocalyptic future. But basically though, that was it. Like for the Origins Wolverine game, that was it, right? The franchise like ended like with the movie, even though they had more Wolverine movies, which is kind of weird. Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3. Sorry, 1, 2, and 3. They went like with the movies. So however many movies that there were is however many games that there were for that specific franchise, right? And yeah, obviously we got more Spider-Man movies over time. We got more Spider-Man movies. Sorry, obviously we got more Spider-Man games over time, like from different companies. But for the most part, like that specific game, Incredible Hulk, for example, is a one-off. Incredible Hulk, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. These are just those two games. And the Golden Compass, for example. And yeah, I was looking at them, and I was like, okay, lots of them were superhero titles. For the most part, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Superman. You even have ones I don't have, Green Lantern, Captain America First Avenger, Thor. So lots of them were superhero title games. Batman Begins got one as well. And video games based on a movie. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And let me know down below if you guys have any movie tie-in games. I know they are rare now, so if you don't have, again, if you're more into digital games, if you didn't grow up with them, but yeah, definitely, like if you experienced them growing up, let me know. Thank you.